Hey everyone, my name's Tanner. I'm going to give you a quick presentation on how you can lower your carbon footprint at home with some pretty simple changes. So, what is a carbon footprint? So, a carbon footprint is the pollution we make daily in our life. I think currently, right now, American averages between 18 and 20 tons per year of carbon or of CO2. So, it comes with things like driving cars, using electricity, and the different types of food that we eat. So, here are some choices you can make to help lower that. For food. So most of the carbon footprint in the food industry comes from dairy or meat. So if you were to eat more fruits and vegetables and decrease your meat and dairy consumption, that would be probably the biggest impact change that you can make. A simple idea would be like a meatless Monday, or maybe choosing a couple meals a week that don't have meat in them. As far as like home and energy stuff, the biggest impact change you can do is if you still use incandescent light bulbs, switching to LED would have the biggest impact for the environment. Um, I also saw a chart that if you lower or raise your thermostat by 2 degrees, that can be about 1 to 2,000 pounds of CO2 per year, decrease in waste. And then obviously things like turning off your lights or unplugging electrical appliances when you leave the house. For shopping and waste, we've touched on some of these in class, but being smart with what you buy, so maybe having our recipes picked out before you go so you don't end up wasting any food. Going to the store with reusable bags, so there's some nice reusable bags you can get. Dr. Drummond also talked about the reusable fruit and vegetable bags, which I've never seen, but we could start using those. And then recycling and compost when possible, and then reducing any of your solid landfill waste are all big changes you can do. For transportation, so walking or biking when possible, carpooling or taking public transportation, combine errands into one trip. Actually, using cruise control on the freeway also uses less gas, and obviously driving less helps reduce emissions. So I think some simple things just like that I've started to do is when I'm going to go to the gym with either Joe or Peter, we all live on the same kind of path. We all kind of carpool together. Or if we're making different trips, trying to find people to join up with. For clothing, so buying clothing that lasts longer so you aren't creating as many waste and buying more things that take carbon to make. So we talked about the avoiding fast fashion, and then Maddie is supposed to give a presentation for more depth of this, but you can use like thrift stores or secondhand stores or just buying good quality clothing that it doesn't need to be replaced every year. So here's a chart that the government of Massachusetts put out, and it kind of gives you quantifiable amounts of how much you can reduce your CO2 by making these changes. I couldn't find one specific to Arizona, but as you can see, if you replace 30 incandescent light bulbs with LED lamps in 1 year, you're going to save 4,000 pounds, so 2 tons of CO2 waste. If you get a car that's 3 miles per gallon more fuel efficient, you're going to save 3,000 pounds of CO2 per year, so 1.5 tons. And it kind of goes down the list here. And then lastly, I think climate change can feel overwhelming. You're one person trying to make a big difference, but I think this quote's kind of funny. If you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito.